Hello everyone, welcome in the SWAYAM course of Microbial Technology. Myself Dr. Tanushri Chatterjee, Associate Professor in Biotechnology in Chhattisgarh Swami Vivekanand Technical University. Welcome you all. So, today we will discuss about the sporulation and its mechanics. In previous lecture, we have studied about the cellular components of bacteria. There we studied about the main component found in all bacteria: cell wall, cell membrane, extracellular and intracellular component, etc. In cell wall, we studied the structure of the cell wall, that is made up of rigid cell wall, that is responsible for the characteristic shape of the cell, that is rod shape, cocos or spiral. In cytoplasmic structure, we have studied plasma membrane, organelles, for example nucleus and ribosomes and endospores. In plasma membrane, in cytoplasmic membrane, inside the cell wall or rigid peptidoglycan layer, this peptidoglycan layer is a rigid structure. In surface structure, we have studied flagella, pili, etc. So, today we will discuss about the sporulation and its mechanics. There we will discuss about the spores, spores type, structure of the spores, sporulation or sporogenesis, endospores and exospores formation step by step, then mechanism of germination, etc. So, spore is a unicellular structure. Numerous plants, for example algae, bacteria, fungi and protozoa have spores. During unfavorable conditions, spores form. It is a highly resistant structure. There are two different type of spores, exospores and endospores. In exospores, exospores is produced by algae and fungi. Outside of the mother cell, exospores are produced during unfavorable conditions. At the conclusion of the mother cell, these exospores emerge as a bud. After that, the mother cell releases the bud to allow for the process of germination at a appropriate environment. If we see the endospore, that is round or ovoid, thick walled, highly retractile, metabolically inert, resistant structure. Spores are not obligatory part of the bacterial life cycle. Endospore formation is a mechanism of survival rather than reproduction. Spore formation is usually triggered by detrimental environmental growth conditions, especially limitation of C supply or carbon supply. So, sporulation occurs in the late log phase. We have already studied the log phase, early stationary phase. So, sporulation occurs in the lag phase or early stationary phase of bacterial growth cycle. The endospores are produced at the rate of 1 per cell inside the bacteria. All endospores producing bacteria are gram positive bacilli, except Sporosarcina such as Bacillus, Clostridium, Thermoactinomycetes and Sporolactobacillus. Under appropriate environmental conditions, they germinate back into vegetative cells. Here in this pictorial representation, you can see the structure of the exospore and endospore very clearly in figure number 1. Now, the difference between endospore and exospore. So, what are the difference between endospore and exospore? Endospore is defined as a structure formed by bacteria and it consists of DNA and cytoplasm, where the exospore is defined as an asexual spore that is formed by fungus or algae. Endospores are formed by bacterial genera, that is Bacillus, Clostridium, etc., and the exospores are formed by Actinomycetes, Streptomyces, etc. Endospores are released by rupturing the mother cell, where the exospores are released by the process of budding. Endospores are produced inside the mother cell, where the exospores are produced at the end of the mother cell. So, these are the difference between endospore and exospore. During the formation of endospore, the process of cell division is not involved, where in exospores are formed by the process of cell division. If we see the feature of these spores, first feature is dormancy. So, what is dormancy? Spores are metabolically dormant and highly resistant to environmental stresses like heat, desiccation and chemicals. Where the protection is, they provide protection against unfavorable conditions, allowing organism to survive until conditions improve. Next feature is dissemination. Third one, spores are often lightweight and easily disperse, facilitating colonization of new environments. In genetic diversity, if we see the genetic diversity of the spore, sporulation can involve genetic recombinations, promoting genetic diversity and adaptation. Next feature is, fifth one is energy investment. Producing spores requires significant energy and resources from the organism. Next one is environmental dependency. Spores require specific cues, for example, nutrients, moisture, to germinate and resume growth. If we see the application of it, so what are the application of sporulation? Sporulation is utilized in microbiology for studying bacterial survival mechanism as well as in industrial processes and medicine. So, now we will discuss about the structure of endospore. So, the outermost coating that envelops the coat of spore, that is called exosporium. So, what is exosporium? Exosporium is the outermost coating that envelops the coat of spores, that is composed of proteins. Some bacterial spores consist of lipid and polysaccharide exosporium. Then spore coat. What is a spore coat? Spore coat is a thick layer of 2 layers and covers the cortex, that is hydrophobic amino acids and cysteine made up of the majority in the spore coat. Spore exhibit resistance due to these amino acids. Then cortex, it is a layer of loosely structured peptidoglycan make up the cortex inside the spore cover. The inner layer is composed of approximately 20% peptidoglycan. The outer layer is loosely organized and may be hydrolyzed as spores germinate. The tetrapeptide, that is 15% muramic lactam, that is 30%, and alanine, that is 55%, make up this structure. So, this is the structure of the cortex. Then central core. Central core is made up of almost 40% dipicloic acid, that is known as DPA, contains ribosomes, modest amount of RNA and DNA, cytoplasm, cytoplasmic membrane and other components of cell, and that core content is 10 to 25% water. This DPA aids in preventing damaging DNA. It has a high calcium content, that is 10 to 15% by dry weight and calcium dipicolinic acid. So, this is the constitution of the spore. SASPs is also present in significant concentrations in the core during sporulation. SASPs attach to DNA in the core to shield it from UV rays, desiccation and drying. It also supply the necessary nutrients of energy for spore germination. You can see here the structure of the endospore very clearly, the outermost layer, the center core and the membrane also, that is the bacterial spore of mRNA. Then shape and position of the endospores. Shape usually smooth walled and ovoid in shape, but some are spherical and have ridges on the wall. So, usually they are smooth walled, ovoid in shape and spherical also and having the ridges on wall. Size, if we see the size of the spore, diameter of spore may be similar, more bulging or less than the vegetative cell. Position may be central or terminal or subterminal or lateral in position. So, they are in different position also, they are in different shape also and size also varies. The shape, size and position of an endospores are characteristics of a bacterial species. For example, the spores of Clostridium tetani, that is drumstick shape. We all have seen the drumstick. So, the shape of the Clostridium tetani is drumstick shape. For example, the Clostridium botulinum. The Clostridium botulinum shape is tennis racket shape. So, we have all seen the tennis racket. So, the Clostridium botulinum shape is tennis racket shape and Clostridium tetani shape is drumstick shaped. Here in this pictorial representation, you can see the different position of the spore, that is central. You can see here very clearly in the central, then subterminal, terminal, spherical, elliptical and bulging and not bulging. So, endospore structure of the basis of size, shape and position you can see here in this pictorial representation very clearly. If we see the life cycle of the spores, the life cycle of spores involve the 3 stages. First stage is sporulation, second one is the dormancy and third one is the germination. In sporulation stage, in overall sporulation, you can see in this pictorial representation where the vegetative cell on starvation, spores are produced, then sporulation take place. After that, you can see the dormancy stage, and on return of the favorable condition, you can see here in this pictorial representation the germination of the spores very clearly. So, this is the life cycle of the spore. Then sporulation, or it is also called sporogenesis. So, the formation or process of formation of bacterial endospores is called as sporulation. Spore formation is usually triggered by adverse environmental growth conditions, usually in limitation of carbon nitrogen supply. Different biochemical events associated with sporulations are decreased in GTP and GDP, accumulation of a novel purine metabolite, that is 3' 5' to P3AP3. Then third one is synthesis of calcium dipicolinate and appearance of intracellular protease. Approximately 200 genes that encode proteins required sporulation. Now, steps of endospores formation. So, beginning with stage 0 and ending with stage 8 or 7, the formation has multiple phases. If we see the stage 0 to 7, the first step is the normal vegetative cell, that is stage 0, just before the sporulation. A vegetative cell typically exists in this state. Second stage, that is S1 or stage 1, first one was 0 stage, the second one is stage 1, their axial filament formation take place, the chromosome of bacteria lengthen and takes on the shape of an axial filament attached to the membrane of the cytoplasm by mesosomes. The cell of the bacteria lengthens. After that, in the second stage, the septa formation is there. For spore, septum is formed by enfolding of the plasma membrane into the cell lumen. A small segment of DNA to detach from the remaining genetic material. So, in the second stage, here the small segment of DNA to detach from the remaining genetic material. In stage 3, therefore, spore engulfment is there, that is the stage 3rd. Here newly formed immature spore is entirely engulfed by the membrane of the mother cell as it proceeds to grow. The engulfment causes the spore to be enveloped by an intermembrane space and to plasma. In stage 4, that is cortex formation. So, the cortex formation take place in stage 4. The inner membrane space gives rise to the formation of the cortex. Here accumulation of dipicolinic acid and the calcium in larger quantities. In stage 5, In the spore core, dipicolinate, that is calcium, is formed by the combination of dipicolinate with SASPs. There is more dehydration of the cytoplasm. Outside the cortex, a coat layer is formed as the coat. So, this is the stage 5, there the protein coat formation take place. In the 6th stage, endospore maturation. At this stage, the cell turns inactive metabolically, the core turns increasingly dehydrated, and the 7th stage, that is the release of the endospores. So, in the 7th stage, release of endospore take place by destruction of enzymes of the spore mother cell. Depending upon the environment specific sigma factor also initiate sporulation processes. Here the whole presentation, whole pictorial presentation, the steps of spore formation you can see in this picture. Then exospores development. Developed exospores means that is developed outside the body, attached with the outer surface of the cell wall. During the unfavorable conditions, primarily the mother cell and the daughter cells, and are derived by means of the septum. Later it forms a bud like structure at the outer covering. The cytoplasmic division results in the bud. It is covered by a double layered membrane. Later it is followed by outer and inner coat development and thus resulting exospores. So, during the favorable condition, the bud get detached from the body and it is followed by germination. Here you can see very clearly in this pictorial representation how the spore is detaching and germinating. As a outgrowth, bud formation is there, then double layer bud formation, then transverse septa formation take place and spore detaches out of the cell. Now, the dormancy of the spores. It is the mechanism that prevents the germination of the spore into a new vegetative cell. During the unfavorable conditions, dormancy is subdivided into the two types. First is exogenous dormancy and the second one is endogenous dormancy. So, the dormancy of the spores is generally a stage in which a spore remains in a resulting or dormant state. It is metabolically inactive. The dormancy is characterized by no cytoplasmic movement. Some internal and external factors can be affect dormancy. In endogenous dormancy, this kind of dormancy is due to internal factors like internal metabolic block, loss of germination promoter, production of a certain germination inhibitors, no nutrient and water penetration into the spore. And in case of exogenous dormancy, this kind of dormancy is due to external factors like temperature and pH variation, desiccation and absence of light, etc. Now, if we see about the endospore germination, bacterial endospores can germinate into vegetative cells in the right conditions. The process that lead to endospore germination are different type. For example, first is activation. So, what is activation? That is triggered in a medium high in nutrients. Agents such as abrasion, heat, acid and chemicals having free self hydryl groups are initiated to destroy the spore coat. Second is initiation. The interaction of endospore receptors with effectors molecules in the medium that initiate the process. Autolysin is activated by effectors and breaks down the peptidoglycan in the cortex, and hydrolytic enzyme break down several spore elements. Next one is outgrowth. When water is absorbed, the endospore swells and activated biosynthesis phases, a newly formed germ cell that breaks through the spore shell and transform into a vegetative cell. These are the different stages of the endospore germination. How the endospores are germinates. Then what are the challenges we face generally? First is energy cost. Sporulation requires significant energy and resources. Vulnerability. Organism may be susceptible during dormant phases. Next one is dependency. Germination is dependent on specific environment cues. Then what are the advantages of the sporulation? First, survival in harsh condition. Spores are highly resistant structures that can withstand extreme condition such as heat, cold, desiccation and radiation. This allows organism to survive in environments that would be lethal to their vegetative forms. Second one is longevity. In longevity, spores can remain viable for long periods, sometimes decades or even centuries. This longevity ensures the organism can wait our unfavorable condition and resume growth when condition is improved. Next condition is dissemination. Spores are often lightweight and easily dispersed by air, water and animals. This allows organism to spread over large distances and colonize new environments. Next challenge is genetic diversity. Sporulation can involve genetic recombination, leading to the formation of spores with genetic diversity compared to the parent organism. This promotes adaptation to changing environmental conditions. Then resistant to chemicals. Spores are often resistant to chemical, disinfectants and antibiotics, which can give them an advantage in environments where these substances are present. Now, disadvantage of sporulation. What are the disadvantage of sporulation? So, first is energy cost. Producing spore requires significant energy and resources from the organism. This can be a disadvantage when resources are limited or conditions are not optimal for growth. Second one is temporal disruption. Sporulation often involves a transition period where the organism causes active growth during the time an organism may be vulnerable to predation, competition or other environmental pressures. Third one is limited metabolic activity. Spores are metabolically inactive and dormant structure, while this allows them to survive in adverse condition. It also means that they cannot actively grow, reproduce or respond to changes in the environment. Next is environmental dependency. Spores require specific condition to germinate and resume active growth. If these conditions are not met, spores may remain dormant indefinitely or perish without successfully propagating. Fifth one is genetic isolation. While sporulation can promote genetic diversity, it can also isolate genetic lineages. Spores may not be readily exchange genetic material with other organism or strains, potentially limiting adaptability in rapidly changing environments. So, the conclusion we can say among the earliest microorganism on the planet are bacteria. Their capacity to produce endospore may have contributed to their existence. Inside the cell, spores are called endospore, and the endospore protects bacteria from harmful environmental factor. Sporulation happens in the early stationary phase or late long phase, and the spores metabolically dormant structure high resistant to server condition. Very long time survival reach to millions of years. Bacillus and Clostridium species are most frequently produce endospores. So, these are the some reference book you can refer for sporulation and its mechanics, sporulation and germination. And the next lecture will cover the autotroph. You are very well known that the autotroph is an organism that can produce its own food, and they produce plants are produce their own food. So, plant are the most familiar type of autotroph. Different type of autotrophic organism, algae and phytoplankton and autotroph. Thank you.